This NBA season has been full of surprises, and not the good kind. Several big-name stars who were expected to lead their teams have instead struggled in ways no one saw coming. Ja Morant's efficiency has dropped, Klay Thompson's shooting has gone cold, Zion still can't stay healthy, and Kawhi and Embiid have barely been on the court. Bradley Beal's season ended early, and Jaren Jackson Jr. hasn't taken the leap Memphis needed. These aren't small setbacks. These are major disappointments affecting entire franchises. So in today's video, we're breaking down the 7 stars who have let everyone down this season. And before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an NBA breakdown. 1. Ja Morant. From face of the league to giant question mark. A year or two ago, Ja Morant genuinely looked like the guy who was next in line to take the face of the league crown and run with it. Explosive finishes, big clutch plays, pure must-watch basketball. But now, it almost feels like we're watching a different version of him. He's still getting his numbers, around 19 points and 8 assists a night, but the efficiency has taken a huge hit. The decision-making has slipped, and the overall energy with the Grizzlies just feels off. Memphis is sitting near the bottom of the West at 4-9, and when your franchise star looks disconnected, it hits in a different way. What makes Ja's situation so disappointing isn't just the drop-off in his play, it's how quickly the entire narrative flipped. It went from, how far can he take this team, to, is this even the guy you build around long-term? With the off-court issues, tension with coaches, and shaky on-court performances, Ja has gone from rising superstar to a major red flag. And that's a tough fall in such a short span. 2. Klay Thompson. When the jumper stops being automatic. If you told NBA fans 5 years ago that Klay Thompson would eventually come off the bench and barely crack 30% from 3, people would have laughed it off. But here we are. In Dallas, Klay was supposed to be the steady veteran shooter, a calm, reliable floor spacer for a team that desperately needed stability. Instead, he's giving the Mavs around 8.8 points a night on 32.5% shooting overall and just 30.2% from deep. And his defense has slipped too. That's not Game 6 Klay. That's more like, why is he still on the floor? You can see it in the way he moves. The lift isn't there, the legs don't look strong on those quick catch-and-shoot threes, and on defense, he just can't stay in front of the faster wings anymore. And this doesn't feel like a regular slump. This feels like the moment where everyone realizes the old Klay just isn't coming back. For someone who built his whole reputation on staying steady under pressure, watching him look this human is quietly one of the toughest storylines of the season. 3. Zion Williamson. The what if story that won't end. Zion might be the most frustrating star in the entire league, and honestly, it's not even close. On paper, his numbers look solid. Around 22.8 points, 6.8 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and 2 steals a game. That's all-star level production. But the issue is the same thing it's always been: availability and true impact. The Pelicans are near the very bottom of the West at 2-10, and Zion has already missed time again after playing just 5 games. The conditioning questions are still lingering, the defensive effort is still all over the place. Teams go right at him in space, and he's still not protecting the rim the way everyone once hoped he would. And that's what makes this so disappointing. This was supposed to be the reset year. New Orleans needed Zion to finally stay healthy and become the engine of a playoff run. Instead, it feels like another chapter of the same story. Moments of dominance, then a setback, and then another round of what could have been. At some point, fans stop hanging on to the potential and start accepting what's right in front of them. A lot of people are reaching that point with Zion right now. 4. Kawhi Leonard. Still great, but never there. Kawhi is a strange kind of disappointment. When he's actually on the floor, he still looks like a star. 24.3 points, lockdown defense, elite steals, and blocks for a wing. The problem? He just doesn't play enough. Through the first month, he's only suited up for 6 games while the Clippers stumble out to a 4-8 start. This team was built entirely around the idea that playoff Kawhi makes all the regular season load management, big contracts, and drama worth it. But if the injuries never stop, what's even the point? It's not like Kawhi suddenly forgot how to play. You still see possessions where he shuts down the opposing star, calmly walks the ball up, and hits that mid-range pull-up like a machine programmed for buckets. But those moments are scattered between long absences, and the reality is, the Clippers don't need a part-time superstar anymore. They need someone they can actually rely on. Kawhi's disappointment isn't about skill, it's about trust. Right now, no one can trust that he'll show up when it really counts. 5. Bradley Beal, from missing piece to missing in action. When the Clippers landed Bradley Beal, the plan was simple. Give Kawhi and Harden another elite scorer who could punish single coverage and take over any night. Instead, we got this. Beal is putting up around 8 points per game on 37.5% shooting. And then the bombshell hits. He's done for the season with hip surgery. For a guy who was once in the 30 points per game conversation, that's not just a decline, it's a cliff. Step back and look at the bigger picture. Huge contract, sky-high expectations, an aging core, and a thin championship window. The Clippers didn't bring Beal in to be a role player. They brought him in to be a difference maker. But between injuries and rough outings when he was actually on the floor, he never got the chance to become what they imagined. It's especially disappointing because this was supposed to be Beal's redemption arc. New city, new role, a real shot at winning big. Instead, it might quietly go down as the move that slammed the door on this era of the Clippers. 6. Joel Embiid. From MVP to is he slowing down? When you hear Joel Embiid's name, you think MVP, 30 points a night, unstoppable force. This season, it's been surprisingly underwhelming. Embiid is averaging around 19.7 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 3.3 assists, shooting just 46% from the field and 32% from three, and he's only played 6 games so far. For most centers, that's solid. For Embiid, it's a warning sign. He looks rusty, the conditioning doesn't seem fully there, and instead of dominating teams every night, he drifts in and out of games. Add in another round of injuries, and it's fair to wonder if all the mileage, size, and constant wear and tear are finally catching up. The Sixers are already leaning more into the Tyrese Maxey era, and you can feel the shift. Embiid isn't automatically the best version of your franchise anymore. He's a question, and whenever your former MVP becomes a question, that's a major disappointment. 7. Jaren Jackson Jr., stuck between roles. If Jay Morant is the loud disappointment in Memphis, Jaren Jackson Jr. is the quiet one. This was supposed to be the season he made a real offensive leap. More touches, more creation, more dominance. Instead, he's giving the Grizzlies around 17.2 points and 5.2 rebounds, with shaky efficiency, a tougher shot diet, and frustratingly low impact on the glass. His field goal attempts are actually down compared to what you'd expect from a future offensive cornerstone, about 12 shots a game, his lowest since 2020-21. For a guy with his skill set, that points to hesitancy. And with his defensive presence not as overwhelming as usual, the former DPOY candidate starts looking more like a good starter than a franchise big. The Grizzlies desperately need an identity, especially with Ja fluctuating, and JJJ was supposed to anchor that on at least one end. Instead, he's stuck in the middle. Not quite the dominant 5, not quite a versatile 4, not quite the offensive hub people hoped he'd become. So, what do we do with these guys? And that's a wrap on the 7 NBA stars who've shocked us all by underperforming this season. From injuries to inefficiency, these guys haven't lived up to the hype. And their teams are feeling it. Basketball fans, the season is long, but the questions are real. Make sure to hit subscribe for more breakdowns like this because we'll be tracking every rise, fall, and surprise in the NBA all year long.